Hello, you are listening to Screentones, a webcomic podcast. This is kind of a part 2 to the trailer, where we're just going to tell you a little bit about who we are, what we do, and what you can expect out of this podcast. My name is Rennie Jasanis. You can also find me on Twitter at RenniePlayer1. I make the webcomic Kate Blast. In Kate Blast, an alien relic containing a great demon has crash-landed on Earth, bestowing magical powers to marine pilot Kate Blast and all of her friends. It is up to the 3 new Guardians and their friends to stave off an alien invasion and discover their place in celestial destiny. I draw this comic using Clip Studio, and I am really looking forward to getting things going in this podcast. For the podcast itself, I am one of the frequent hosts as well as the resident sound tech. So all the editing that you see on all these episodes is myself with some help from Miranda, who you will meet later. So let's get into the rest. How about the rest of you all?
Hi, I'm Crispy. I use she, they pronouns, and I am a moderator, speaker, and helped do the final designs of our mascot for Screentones. I am the co author and co artist for the webcomic Ghost Junk Sickness, and it is a comic about 2 bounty hunters with an unstable dynamic who are pushed to pursue the deadly and elusive bounty dubbed the Ghost. The themes that we have in that comic are found family, trifling with the unknown, cowardice, and owning up to your mistakes. I really like to talk about comics. It's pretty much how this whole podcast kind of started, with a bunch of friends who literally could not stop talking about comics, and we're just like, it'd be really cool if we could just keep talking about comics and then just not stop and have purpose even more. So Screentones was born from that, and it is an excellent little place for us to kind of gather our thoughts, tell the world about said thoughts, and just kind of live in the moment for comics. You can find me on social media at feather_notes.
Okay. My name is Christina Major. I go by Delphina on the internet and Delphina2K on Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, all that good stuff. I use she, her pronouns. I'm going to be one of your co hosts and also writing blog posts and show notes. I live around Los Angeles and I make Somnambulous. Somnambulous is a comedy slash fantasy adventure webcomic, really inspired by the pun filled spirit of Discworld and long game, big magic, and character glow ups of a manga series. Somnambulous follows paladins, magicians, and folks with wings as they go around fixing weird problems, causing weird problems, and becoming BFFs whether they like it or not. Silly in parts, deep in parts. I love that blend. My work is digital. I use Clip Studio and Photoshop. And my big early inspirations were manga and early webcomics from the 2000s. And then in 2010, I finally got Sobulus launched. I'm excited to talk about crafting stories, making them resonate with people. I went to conventions in 3 countries in the before times, so I love the process of brainstorming for Kickstarters and merch. I'm also a member and admin at the Spider Forest Webcomic Collective, which is a group of indie webcomic creators. So you will also hear me talk about the community aspects of making webcomics because we're not alone. And I really think being there to encourage and inspire each other is super duper cool. That's what I got.
Hi, I'm Allie, also known as Verathane on social media. My pronouns are she, they, and my role in the podcast is talking a lot, just being a chatterbox. I'm full of words all the time, so I figured podcasting would be fun. I love talking about comics, and now everyone gets to listen to me do it. This is amazing. I make 2 webcomics. First was Chiralt, a high fantasy webcomic about a little girl who gets shrunk to the size of a squirrel and has to enlist the help of the first person she meets to get back to normal. I finished it after over a decade and more than 1,000 pages, and then immediately jumped into my second webcomic, Witchwood. This one is a sci fi fantasy post apocalypse comic, which is great to fit into a sentence, and it's about a couple of urban explorers with unusual superpowers who get captured by the magical research organization that's supposed to be helping to protect humanity. But are they really? I got into webcomics way back in 2007 when dinosaurs roamed the internet, and I just have not stopped since then. No one can stop me.
Hi, everyone. My name is Claire. You may also call me Clam. My pronouns are she, her. I am part of the podcast's social media team, and I've worked on several of the graphics and logos that we'll be using to advertise Screentones. I am the author and artist of the webcomic Phantomarine, which is a spooky seafaring fantasy about a haunted ocean, a ghostly princess, and a devious death god known as the Red Tide King. It's a little sweet, it's a little scary, but it's also a story full of mystery where not everything might be what it seems. So it's a fun adventure as well as a big puzzle to solve, which is totally my jam to work on. It also has an adorable ghost dog and a ghost plesiosaur named Jeff, so what more do you need? I started Phantomarine purely out of boredom in 2015 after I got my first job in the animation industry. I just wanted to make something all for myself on the side, so I did. I work almost entirely on my iPad with Procreate. It's a fully painted comic, so I like talking a lot about process and streamlining things with art that might not be your traditional ink to flat to shading sort of thing. I also really love talking about world building and character design and just tightening up a story and really making it sing. You can find me on Twitter at Phantomarine_, and my webcomic is on Hiveworks right now.
Hi, I'm Ray, and I have they, them pronouns. I'm a webcomic speaker, and I've been doing webcomics since 2003 during the ye old days of Keenspace. I specialize in digital art, which I do for most of my comics, but I also do traditional inks and watercolors, and I'm a huge nerd for paneling. But my current comic is On Empyrean High, where Empyrean is a world composed entirely of sky and floating islands where dragons and humans compete for the skies. Theo and Mara are voluntarily abducted by the dreaded pirate captain of the Mockingbird and come face to face with the horrors that their nation has wrought. And my other comic is Overlord of Ravenfell, where it's about the evil overlord Rosin, who wants to become the best evil overlord ever, but he is absolutely terrible at being evil. He sets out to take control of the powerful fortress called Ravenfell to find out that it might be more than just a castle. Anyway, you can find me on Twitter as Ravenfell. And also, and I think I'm done.
Hey, I'm Megan Davison, or Meg, or Megan. My pronouns are she, her, and I run two different comics. I run Sorcery Shenanigans, which is a fantasy adventure comic. It's about a satyr has ancient magic that has no foreseeable limits. He gets interested in a group of friends who have found themselves at the center of this mess. Fleeing to search for answers out of curiosity and fear, they end up finding themselves back with him again, armed with answers and the power to destroy his magic once and for all. My other comic is a series of journal comics called My Illustrated Life. It's the day-to-day happenings of my life as a comic artist, with plenty of chaos and funny jokes from my friends and family. In the podcast, I'm going to pop up sometimes as a host, but I have done some of the digital art that you'll see. For me, I got into webcomics many years ago through things like Cucumber Quest, Never Satisfied were kind of my starting points, and then definitely dipped into more comics through manga. The link that you can find me at that houses everywhere you can ever find me or my comics is my link tree. All you have to do is type in linktr.ee/mega_illustrations.
Hey y'all, I'm Miranda. My pronouns are she, her, and I am one of the social media directors and hosts here at Screentones. I create the webcomic Into the Swell, which is the story of a pirate and a wizard who are thrown together into an ocean-wide scavenger hunt. It has adventure, humor, slow burn romance, and explores themes like found family and overcoming loss. I also have a new comic in the works called Just One Bite, the story of a vampire and an assassin who find themselves tossed into a whirlwind of intrigue, betrayal, and just a bite of romance.
So in the first trailer, we briefly talked about a bunch of the different topics that we're going to be talking about, but we wanted to talk a little bit more about sort of what this podcast is going to be, more long term. I know that this podcast originally started as a blog, as you've heard from a couple people here, and as well as that, it was mostly just the group of us can't stop talking about comics. You can't make us stop. You can't shut us up. We're just gonna keep going.
Comics.
So we figured might as well record it. So the only difference between a podcast and goofing around is hitting record. So what about you guys? What are some of the things you're most looking forward to? Either putting into this or getting out of this podcast?
I can't wait to talk about world building. I don't know about you guys.
Oh, yeah.
That's gonna
One
be
of my
so much
favorite
fun.
subjects.
I feel like that's going to be
Yeah.
like 5 episodes long, minimum.
It better.
We're already planning it for at least 2, maybe more.
Yeah.
But every time we plan out an episode and then we have all these bullet points and then it's just like, okay, this is one episode. And then we talk about like one thing and we're like, I guess there's like 2 episodes.
An hour later, we covered half the points and thought of 3 more things that we want to do. So
Can't
how
stop
about,
myself.
stuff like character writing and pacing and analyzing themes? There's just so much. Those are my favorite topics. So
Okay, but I know for a fact that you all, traditional artists, are going to be talking a lot about stuff like paper
Oh,
and pens and all the good stuff that goes into like actually arting the comic too. So I'm excited
Oh,
for that.
paper.
I want to learn more about trad stuff. Absolutely. Meanwhile, Delphina and I and Claire can definitely go nuts over Clip Studio and Procreate and all those cool digital art stuff. So
There's a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Comics are amazing. God, there's so many different ways to make them. I really want to talk about paper though.
And
you
you
talk
will.
more about paper.
Yeah.
Okay, so part 2 for paper is recording now.
No.
Surprise, everyone. This is just a paper podcast now.
Arches,
Oh my
sponsor
goodness.
us.
We tricked you.
No. I think there's also going to be a lot about the community because webcomics are kind of a community, and there's all the aspects of marketing and reaching out to other creators. So I'm excited about that.
On that same kind of note, I'm excited to talk about things like pitching, where you might not know exactly how to sell your comic as an idea, but if you really think about it enough, you can find some interesting things to say about it. And yeah, put together a little pitch packet, send it around, see what you can find.
That's so cool. I want to know more about that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I want to talk about critique. I think that we should talk about critiques.
What's your opinion on unsolicited critique?
Oh my god! You egg me on! Okay, so this is part 2.
Crispy's opinion is a whole episode.
Oh my
2
goodness.
hours of Crispy.
I'd listen to it because I have listened to it and I know it's good.
I feel like that was another reason why Screentones started, was that somebody said the U word, and I was just like, oh god, oh lord, here we go. And I think that was actually 2 hours of me not shutting up.
Is the U word unicorns?
I wish,
I
to
wish
be.
too.
everyone here is a victim to
I
Crispy.
want a long list of unicorns about my webcomic. I would love it.
But yeah, so I mean, we're very excited about this podcast and everything moving forward, and we really hope you stick around and listen to the eps, and hope you're able to get something out of this that you can apply to your own process, your own writing, your own art, or just the way you read comics on its own. So please stick around.
Slap around. Slappers.